Ancient Sparta was very different when compared to their counterparts and rivals, Athens. The Spartans didn't study philosophy or art. Instead, they lived for war. The Spartans were widely considered to have the strongest army in ancient Greece and the best soldiers of any city-state. All Spartan men trained to become warriors from the day that they were born. The Spartan army fought in a phalanx formation. They would line up side by side and several men deep. Then they would lock their shields together and advance on the enemy, stabbing them with their spears. The Spartans spent their lives drilling and practicing this so that they would be able to defeat enemies in battle. They rarely broke formation and could defeat much larger armies. The basic equipment that was used by the Spartans included their shield, which is called an aspis, and a spear, which is called a dory, and finally a short sword called a xiphos. They also wore a red tunic so that their bloody wounds wouldn't show. The most important piece of equipment to a Spartan was their shield. The biggest disgrace a soldier could suffer was to lose his shield in battle, something which is referred to in the very, very popular film, although slightly inaccurate film, 300. So Spartan boys were trained to be soldiers from the day that they were born. They were raised by their mothers until the age of 7, and they would then enter a military school called the agoge. Now the agoge would have boys in it and it would teach them how to fight, but also how to read and to write. So it wasn't just a military school, it did include other social things like reading and writing and stuff which a normal school in sort of today's era would come to expect. It was a tough school, however. The boys lived in a barrack and were often beaten to make them tough. They were given little to eat in order to get used to what life would be like if they were at war. The boys were encouraged to fight one another, and when they turned 20, they would then be enlisted in the Spartan army. Now life was very different for Spartan girls. They also went to school at the age of 7, but this time the school wasn't as tough as the boys. They did train in athletics and they did exercise, but it was important that the women stay fit so that they could have strong sons who could fight for Sparta one day. The women of Sparta had more freedom and education than most city-states at the time, and the girls were usually married by the time they were 18. The city of Sparta rose to power around 650 BC. From 492 BC to 449 BC, the Spartans led the Greek city-state wars against the Persians. It was during the Persian Wars that the Spartans fought the famous Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans and a few thousand Greeks held off hundreds of thousands of Persians, allowing the Greek army to escape. There'll be more on the famous Battle of Thermopylae in a future video. After the Persian Wars, the Spartans went to war against Athens in the Peloponnesian War. The two city-states fought from 431 BC to 404 BC, with Sparta eventually triumphing over Athens. Sparta began to decline in the coming years and lost the famous Battle of Leuctra to Thebes in 371 BC. However, it did remain an independent city-state until Greece was conquered by the Roman Empire in 146 BC. So to finish off, a few interesting facts about Sparta. Boys were encouraged to steal food. If they were caught, they were punished, not for stealing, but for actually getting caught. Spartan men were required to stay fit and ready to fight until the age of 60. Spartans tended to respect the elderly a lot more than other nations at the time. For example, if an old man was walking into like a coliseum or somewhere where there's a lot of seated people, Spartan men would instantly get up and offer them their seat, whereas other cultures didn't really have that sort of thing ingrained into them. The term Spartan is often used to describe something simple or without comfort. The Spartans consider themselves to be direct descendants of the Greek hero Hercules. Sparta was ruled by 2 kings who had equal power. There was also a council of 5 men called the Ephors who watched over the kings. And finally, laws were made by a council of 30 elders, which included the 2 kings. Thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, then please give the video a like, as that will help the channel. On this page I have all of my supporters that I am very grateful to have. These videos do take a while to make, so if you wish to help this creative process, then please check out the join button below and my Patreon page.